Like I remember I was very young and my grandmother had all kind of creepy, interesting rituals.
This is the Creator Podcast. I am Gus and I'm with Jeff.
That's me.
And we have today a very special guest all the way from Romania. It's artist Gina, and I don't know how to say your last name, but I'm going to say Iacob. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, that's right. Hi, that's the actual Romanian version. The English version would be Jacob.
Jacob. Okay. Very
Oh,
cool. Yeah, that one threw me for a looper. Tell our listeners a little bit about what you do as an artist. We're all about creators here, and you being a talented artist. Mostly, I see black and white stuff that you've done, but I know you do more than that.
Yeah, well, through the years, I've experienced a lot with techniques, and I also drew a lot with colors, and I also painted a lot with colors.
Yeah, I've
Somehow through, yeah, please.
yeah, I was gonna say I've seen some of your paintings, your older work, and I thought that was really beautiful. And I've noticed lately you're more into like black and white, graphite, maybe some charcoal. It looks like a lot of just really cool, detailed black and white stuff. Is there a reason for the switch?
Uh, yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed about my old colored self because in that time I was more like experiencing, not expressing my inner self. And my inner self is a bit darker. And yeah, it took me a while until I understood I'm not for colors. I'm not for cute, pretty art. I'm more for dark art and
Yeah,
definitely black and white.
right. No, it makes sense. I do a lot of dark art as well, and I think it connects. I've tried to stay with colors, but I do think you do a really amazing job, not only mixing pop culture with a lot of your, images that you create, but you're also a really good photographer. I've seen some of your newer stuff of your hands, and I've seen that people like that a lot as well.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a kind of a funny story because I even had a blog in my 16s like
Yeah,
this. I had blog with all kinds of photos, artistic photos,
right.
and I was kind of passionate about photography ever since I was a teenager. So since I got deeper into the dark arts lately, I also started doing some dark photography as well.
Yeah, I think you're a natural at it. I mean, I think you could, either mix the two. I think that'd be interesting to see, but you're able to capture some powerful images. It seems like you're mostly photographer, doing photos of your own hands, your own self, but that's pretty awesome work. I think you should definitely continue and explore that.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that once you're an artist in a certain area, like no matter if you're a musician or I don't know, a baker or a painter, I think that once you're very creative in a certain area, you start being creative in all kinds of stuff. Like
Yeah,
if you're an artist, you do everything in an artistic way.
right. No, it's true. I think sometimes we could feel like we get kind of cornered into an area, but it's good to utilize that creativity and run with it, do everything you can with it, and kind of helps you fully embrace being an artist. Are you a full-time artist? Is that your full career right now?
Oh yeah, well, at least I'm trying to. I'm not like a very functional social being. I kind of dislike people generally. And to be honest, it's not like a preference. I just don't really function around people. So I've decided to just be an artist in my own corner at home and just do my stuff far from society stuff. So yeah, currently it's very, I mean, if you're an artist, even a part-time one, I believe you guys know it's very, very difficult to make a living out of it. But it's what I like the most, and I think if you're really passionate, and if you really work very hard, in the long run, you kind of make it work. So I'm
Yeah,
trying.
I think that's a very valid point. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even with what you were saying about feeling like you want to isolate yourself and be away from people, I think so many artists kind of go through that. I know I have most of my life, and it was kind of a struggle to balance that. But on the other hand, I've been doing this for about 20 years full time as an artist, and you're right. Like you kind of, I feel like you find your way, and I think you get rewarded for how much you put into it. If you don't fully dedicate yourself to it, I think I don't call it the universe or whatever. Maybe people just pick up on it, but I think people could kind of see how serious you're taking it. So I think the more you put in, for sure, you'll get it back and be able to grow.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point.
Yeah, I was wondering, a lot of your work is really dark, and I love dark art. And you used to do the kind of the more, like you said, the color work. Um, and I guess you were saying that you kind of avoid social situations and things. But are people generally in your area in Romania, in the town that you live in, are they generally acceptive of your work? Do they not even know that you do this kind of thing? Like, I'm just curious, like in the culture, do your friends and family like support you in what you do?
Yeah, this is funny because everyone who's very close to me, like friends and relatives and family, are very supportive, but they don't really, really understand what's going on
Yeah.
about my art. And somehow they kind of stopped questioning things about my art. They just kind of appreciate it. They support me, but for them, I'm the misfit somehow. I'm the weirdo, the creep. But
That's a
yeah,
good
I'm
thing,
I'm
though.
getting the support I need, so it's okay. I'm accepted. I'm not the weirdo in a bad way. People don't really avoid me on the streets and stuff like that.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I was wondering too because you are Romanian, and Romania has ties to Transylvania and vampires and things like that. Is that a common question you get asked about, like
Yeah,
Transylvania
yes,
and stuff
yeah,
like
we are
that?
vampires. Absolutely. It's not a myth. It seems like a joke. We will all laugh. But after we finish this podcast, I'll still be a vampire. So,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's true.
I like that. So you go out and you just find people to murder, or is it more like you'll just, say you capture them and maybe take out some blood?
Yeah, well, that's the kind of information I would have to kill you after
Right.
telling you about. So,
Well, I mean, you could kill me as long as you turn me into a vampire and I get to live long. I'm guessing you're about 600 or 700 years old.
much, much more than that.
Oh
We're
wow,
very old vampires because we're actually the oldest vampires on Earth.
that's
Because we
awesome.
started all the Dracula thing started here, and we're the originals.
Hmm. Do you think there's is it all you, or do you think there's like some kind of darker demon or some kind of uh, something else that maybe possesses the soul? Can you explain that at all?
Mm, are you talking about me in particular or generally about people's souls?
Either or. I'm interested in either. Whatever you like to share.
Well, I kind of have this theory that darkness kind of lives in every human. And I kind of noticed this that when people are in certain situations, there's something dark coming out of them. Like even the nicest and the pinkest and fluffiest person ever in the room, if
Yeah.
you piss that person off, or if that person is in a certain context, it will become a demon. I think it's in us, a
Right.
dark little demon. And if you feed it, it comes out. At a certain point, it happens.
Yeah. I agree with that. When I was younger and I'd freak out on people, I would call it like the beast inside me, because I would sort of totally snap if I was pushed really, really far. It wasn't easy, but um, and they say that that's why if people drink, they call it spirits. They say sometimes that this other side of you can come out. You think that's like the same kind of related thing?
Wow, that's interesting about the spirits. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, that's why they call alcohol spirits. Like that's
Yeah, I
supposedly
know.
that's
I
the
know.
definition. Yeah,
I know. I just never made this connection. Yeah, very interesting.
yeah. It's just something, idea. I'm always thinking in weird ways. So I always appreciate talking to artists that are thinking, the similar kind of weird ways. I think it's one of the reasons why I love talking to artists. Um, it's more relatable than someone who maybe works at a bank or they're
Definitely. Never
yeah.
try to talk to someone who works in a bank about these things.
Yeah, I mean, I try to like everybody. It's just harder to relate with everybody. Um, but I think one of the things I would always enjoy doing is I'd go in a public place if I had to, and I would try to bring in some kind of abstract humor or just do something that wasn't the automatic response that most people have. It's like, "How are you doing today? Good. How are you?" And it's just this kind of pattern. I don't know if it's the same in Romania, but it seems like people aren't really saying anything. They're just kind of on autopilot, and they're just saying what everyone else says, almost just to seem normal. So I'd always throw in weird things like, if somebody held a door for me, and maybe I'll say like mayonnaise instead of thank you. Just something to mix it up, just and to see how it takes. I think the world needs that a little bit.
Yeah, you're just like you just made a short description about me. I do that all the time, and everybody thinks I'm very stupid. They never understand sarcasm or dark humor, and
Yeah,
it's kind of
Right.
difficult, but I think that's the charm of it, being a little special.
yeah. It's definitely just fun. I mean, um, I also think it's kind of like not, and being an artist, I feel like a lot of really good artists kind of have to hold on to their child spirit. I think that's part of it. I think I don't know if you agree with that, but it seems like we're sort of forced to grow up and be these things that we don't really connect with. At least that's how I felt about being an adult or being a man. Um, so I just kind of wanted to play it by my rules, almost like a kid would.
Yeah, I agree. I'll still never accept being an adult. I'll never do.
And you're like 1,000 years old, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, I
I
think
like
I'll
that.
still,
well, I was
I'll
gonna say
be denying my condition, my adult condition.
for years and years, thousands of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we talked about that a little bit on the podcast before. Was the idea of never growing up, never becoming like kind of this boring adult person that usually when kids see adults, they're like, oh, they're boring adults, but everybody keeps that childlike spirit. Then I think, yeah, like Gus said, the world would be a little better place.
I think I never take myself too seriously because I think I see a lot of people, just like you described, very serious and very talking about basic stuff, who never laugh at jokes and work a lot in the bank. And I don't know, I can't take myself seriously like this and be like this because life is just very short and full of stuff, mostly hard stuff and
Mhm.
tough stuff and ugly stuff. So I think it's best to keep our childish side
Yeah,
and to keep as well our adult side, but to learn to cope with them together and not be very, very serious about everything. People are
right.
just way too serious. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
it's the worst. It's that's the real pandemic. It's
Yeah, that's true.
the serious pandemic. That's what I
Exactly.
don't like. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead, Jeff.
I was gonna say I saw a lot of your work involves the idea of witches or kind of like spiritual and kind of things like that. Are you are you a very spiritual person, or do you practice like Wiccan and witch things? I know witches a lot of times get a negative connotation. People think of like the Wizard of Oz or like things like that, but I know that there's a lot of good in like with witches and Wiccan. So I wondered what your perspective on that was.
Oh, well, I kind of grew up in a very mystical environment. If mystical is a word in English, I don't
Yeah.
know for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was always surrounded in my early childhood about a lot of weird stuff. Like I remember I was very young and my grandmother had all kind of creepy, interesting rituals,
Yeah.
doing like for all kind of prayings to not let her birds die because she grew up a lot of birds, chicken, and they used to die a lot. At a certain point, she used to tell me they were cursed or something, and she did all kind of prayings and spells. Or whenever I had like I used to cut myself on my finger or do some stupid things kids do because I never listened. And she used to do all kind of stuff with herbs and words, magic words and stuff to make it go away much easier. I don't know if it really worked.
Right.
At least she said so. So I kind of am a spiritual person. I kind of believe in energy. I mean, I don't believe in energy because it exists
Yeah.
no matter if I believe or not. But yeah, I believe in energies. I believe in all kind of connections between many worlds, as well the worlds we see and the worlds we do not see. What I practice, I kind of practice cleansing rituals like burning witch stuff through the house to make the bad things go away. Um, Being a real witch involves a lot of knowledge, and I'm not that deep into that stuff yet. I still have a lot to learn. But yeah, people have a very wrong perspective about witchcraft nowadays
Yeah. Well,
because they associate that with darkness and demons and stuff like that. But that's happening because people lack information.
no.
And
I was
yeah.
gonna say there is two kinds of witches though, right? I feel like there is some that are dark. They want to be dark and almost evil, and then I think there's the majority I would think are the opposite, where they
Mm-hmm.
they're for light and for helping and healing and more of a positive thing. So maybe the ones that were evil or are evil, it scared people so much that they just associated everything to do with it, almost the way they would with if say there's a sports team and one guy murders someone, they might say, well, everybody that does that is a murderer.
Yeah, sure. Well, in Bad Witch's defense, and to calm down the terrified people, there are not many of them because it's very difficult to be a bad witch. So people listening right now can just calm down. There are no, there are not many bad witches among us, at least not nowadays, because it takes lots of years and talents you get at birth and energies and a lot of stuff to do that. So we're all safe
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah,
for now.
right. I agree. I like that. I think it's pretty fascinating. Just knowing that you grew up in a different culture and the way you've experienced it. I think it's really cool to hear that. I enjoy it.
Yeah, and this country actually has a very interesting energy, like an interesting folklore, interesting legends, and yeah, somehow there is something about this specific country. And if you're born here, you can feel there is something special about it.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, what's your daily life there? Like, are you mostly inside and you work on art, or do you have certain places you love to go?
Uh, yeah, well, my life is very boring actually. It may not look like that. I may look very interesting and entertained all the day. But yeah, I stay quite isolated. And now with this pandemic, I'm really almost every day at home.
Right.
And most of the time, I just draw and watch memes all day.
Yeah.
And I play with my dog a lot. And when I'm going out, like when we're not being crushed by viruses and aliens and lots of things, I'm going out for walks by myself, just by myself around town
Yeah.
in the afternoon on the streets where there are few people to none, preferably.
Yeah. Right. That's cool. You mentioned aliens. Have you seen aliens? Have you have any experiences?
Uh, not directly. And I know that they were not aliens, but I had some creepy alien-shaped visions
Hmm.
during a few episodes of my sleep paralysis.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Um, it seems that they're
I
pretty
guess
common.
we all, yeah, I guess we all had them at a point.
There's a lot of people, and it seems they're always a really dark shaped creature, and some people kind of think they might be aliens, but I think others think they might be something darker. I'm not sure. They don't really hurt anyone, though, do they?
But I don't really think that if there are aliens, which they probably are somewhere in this universe,
Yeah.
I mean, they're intelligent, right? Why on Earth will they visit us? If they're a smart species, I think they'd never visit us because
Well,
we're
I mean,
kind of dumb.
well, we like to visit monkeys and see what's up with them. I think people like to see, animals that aren't as high intelligence and maybe help them if they can. So that's kind of my theory, is that sometimes they want to sort of steer us in the right direction. Or if there's animals that could destroy what we're doing, it's almost like I think once we started having nuclear bombs, it seemed like the alien thing kind of took off. So there's been theories that they didn't want us to mess up the whole universe with these nuclear weapons. But that's a different conversation, probably.
That's something a lawyer for the aliens would say. So are you one of them?
I like that.
I ask myself that a lot, whether Gus is an alien or not. I feel like he might be tricking me, but I
I
keep
feel
an
like
open
he's
mind.
protecting them. He's trying to.
He
I,
is,
I
yeah.
I come from the moon. That's where I come from. It's not what people think it is. It's a great place,
Should we
and
should we get very technical and talk about all the reasons why one could never come from the moon?
Well, it could
Or
be
that's
the
a
other side
whole.
of the moon. Nobody ever sees the other side of the moon, so that's.
you
Oh,
don't know what's going on my planet. It's a great place. No,
okay.
they punished me. I'm a prisoner here, so I have to serve here as a prisoner.
Oh, I
'Cause,
see. I see. That's
yeah,
fair enough.
that's kind of what they're doing. But it's fine. I'm having a good time.
I did have a question. I'm gonna ask a bunch of Romania questions because like I have the opportunity. I think that you're close to Moldova, correct?
Yeah,
Have
but
you?
not the republic, but the area, the Moldavian area, like the northeast.
Okay. Have you ever been there to Moldova? Is it?
To the republic.
Yeah, I guess is it easy to get into, or is there anything over there worth going over there for? Or
Well, I've never been to the republic. Um, like it's very different. The republic from our country is not the same thing. I've never been there. If you're ever planning to travel, I would recommend seeing both of them. But I think the Romanian culture is a bit more interesting to acknowledge, to see, to learn, to visit. But yeah, I've never been there. I couldn't compare the advantages and disadvantages between the Republic and Romania.
okay, yeah, I look at a map and I think, wow, what's the closest thing over there? I don't travel that often. Have you ever traveled? Like what's like the furthest away that you've traveled?
Oh, I'm very, very bad at geography. So I'm just telling you countries I visited, and if you can do the quantum physics calculus to understand which one is farthest, then we're good.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been to France, Switzerland, um, Austria, Italy. I didn't really travel too much.
You've probably been to more countries than most people in America have already, so that's
Yeah,
you're off to a good start.
I've
Oh,
I've
so
I've
people
been to,
people
I've been
don't
to Canada.
travel. People don't travel there.
A lot of
Uh,
people don't. I mean, I think most people can't afford it, right?
Okay, they can't afford.
Most people
Well,
can't, or they're too busy working. I feel like. Um, yeah, I've only been to Canada a few times, and that's almost like upper, going to New York and a little bit past. It's it's not too far,
okay, I
but
see.
yeah. But you've been more places. Are those places all connected, or are they? Because I don't even know either. I'm bad at geography.
Uh,
Jeff probably knows.
well, it's
let's
all
not embarrass let's not embarrass ourselves right now and talk about
Yeah.
something else.
Good idea.
No, a few of them I kind of travel the most in Europe because it's the closest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't travel too far from my country. So yeah, those are kind of nearby to say at least.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering what I guess like what are your thoughts on like the United States, or do you follow any like artists like from the US? Does the US have a big influence on any part of your life at all? Like do you ever like that how often do you think about like the US? Like obviously like you're living your own life, but it's like does it have a big influence on any of your art? Like do you follow anyone from the US?
Well, US kind of demotivates me because it has so many great artists, and every time I discover a new artist from US, I feel like I want to quit drawing. I met a lot of people online from the US, and it's certainly there's a different vibe in there. People are way more open-minded. Um, I don't know, they're just different. They're just different, and if you don't really know how people are in here, usually artists, you can't really make a difference. But people from US are different for me, at least in a good way. And they're kind of way more supportive with each other, but also with foreigners. I mean, just talking from my perspectives and from the people I've met online. I don't know if that's the situation, generally speaking.
I think, from my experience, it seems like we definitely love and try to open our arms to foreigners that do art. I think that's always, kind of fascinating to most people here. I think a lot of Americans, they're really, I wouldn't say business minded, but they get really competitive. So I've had a lot of encounters with different artists, and it becomes this, you know, almost like who's more successful kind of thing. And I've lost kind of like early friendships because of that. It seems so. There's definitely a lot of competition here. I think because money is a big focus for a lot of people, and I guess that's kind of like brainwashed into us. The American dream and capitalism and all that. I think and being an artist is definitely one of the most difficult careers here. So yeah, it's weird, but I mean, I love it at the same time. I think I haven't been to many other countries, so it's my favorite, but I'm just kind of biased because I haven't experienced a lot. But yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah, well, I think it's a whole lot of different. If you're living there,
Yeah,
you definitely have a different perspective, and I'm
for sure.
just an outsider here.
Yeah, and there's different areas where it's like all artists. There's Portland, there's Austin, Texas, there's New York, certain parts. Santa Fe, New Mexico. We have these certain little areas where there's so many artists. It's like almost everybody's an artist. And then most of it is just, there's not too many artists. And like where I live, there's not a lot. There's a little community, which is bigger than most places I've lived. I think then where Jeff's at, there's probably like, no real artists around for the most part. He's probably one of the only ones. But yeah, it's kind of how it is here.
Yeah, well, I've never been there, so.
Well, you gotta come. It'll be a lot of fun. Is the Romanian government supportive of artists? Do they give like grants or funds? Is that something you've been able to take advantage of?
Our government is really usually not supportive with anything at all, kind of. So it's not really about art. They don't really support so many people in the artistic area.
Right.
And somehow we're not very cultivated in this area. People here are struggling just to get their money and to survive and to pay their bills.
Yeah.
And they're not very much into art like you guys are.
Yeah.
And people lack this information about art. Some of them appreciate it, but in a more commercial way, like they wouldn't appreciate the dark arts that much. They'd appreciate more the very commercial, glittery art.
Right.
And yeah, we're kind of a poor country, and you guys are like everybody else is like 200 years ahead of us. Like we're very we're somewhere in the past. We're not very
I'm sure that probably looks really beautiful though. I'm sure like to an outsider they'd come there and go, oh my god, this is so amazing, it's so older looking. Is that kind of how it looks? Like it feels and looks very, like you said, 200 years ago?
Yeah, I mean the places are completely beautiful, and all the famous places you're seeing on Google, like castles and monasteries and stuff like that, are really, really very beautiful. But yeah, people are ruining it. The country is fine. We have beautiful places. We're just a bit ruining it. That's all.
And people will do that. They're out of control, especially the ones that aren't from the moon.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about your art too, and your character, that you mentioned that basically the only thing that would be commercially successful is like colorful, pretty fluffy pink kind of stuff, but you go with your passion and you go with what makes you feel good and make the dark art like you do. And I think that says a lot about kind of your integrity and how you stick to what makes you feel good.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's true. Everyone sticks to whatever makes their soul tremble. So diversity makes us beautiful. I'm just saying, like, you guys can understand 10 types of art. Like, you can relate to dark art, you can relate to pop art, you can relate to a lot of stuff. I mean, you can understand it because you read about it, you can have information about that stuff.
Yeah.
We're not very informed. Like, people here are like, they see a glass of water, and that glass of water, if fulfills their needs, that glass of water is everything, and they kind of fail seeing more than that. They kind of reject everything that's beyond that. So they go on a path and they only stick to that thing without trying to understand or to inform themselves more about something else.
Yeah, I like the analogy you said with the glass of water. Um, yeah, I wonder why that is. I wonder if there's not like you guys watch American movies mostly, or is there culture out there like films that everybody watches and TV shows, or is it pretty much stuff from America?
Young people usually watch a lot of American movies, I myself included,
Hmm.
and most of us love them. Most of us watch them subtitled in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I never watch anything subtitled in Romanian.
Okay.
So yeah, we love them, but like the older generation, not really. From as
Yeah.
far as I noticed in my family, they're more into the commercial stuff they show on TV, like Romanian soap operas and stuff
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, the garbage.
Yeah, the basic garbage, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
But like most of us, the young generation watch a lot of American stuff.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I wonder if it's maybe because they're afraid of losing, Romanian culture. If everything becomes Americanized, then, children growing up, they won't know, the rich culture.
I don't think so. No, I just think I think they're in a comfort zone where they're just okay with those things. I don't think they're able to understand American horror movies or comedies because, like, seriously, in many movies there are lots of references or kind of jokes or expressions, and even if translated, they wouldn't make sense in Romanian like they do in American, so
Oh,
in English. So I think the older generation just doesn't like that just because.
Yeah,
mhm.
that makes sense. It's kind of how it goes here on some levels. You know, times change and the younger people are always a little bit more hip to what's going on and that kind of thing. A lot of older people don't want to change at all. And then the youth becomes old and they kind of do the same thing. It seems to be a pattern for the most part.
Yeah, that's true. But I think the younger generations will slowly start growing more and more and will be more open-minded.
Yeah, that's a good
And
point.
we will be the majority, I think, one day.
Right. Yeah, you look like you're in your 20s. Based on looks, am I around the right area there?
Leaving the vampire age
Yeah,
aside,
you're right.
uh, yeah, I'm actually just turned 28 in April 6th.
Okay. Oh, very cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
happy
you
birthday.
look. Happy
Thank
birthday is
you.
right.
It's not very cool. I'm kind of getting very stressed about the huge 30s, and I don't know what will happen.
I mean, I'm 41, so I could tell you what's gonna happen.
No, please,
No,
spoilers, tell me
yeah, I mean, I think it's just a
a
number,
number.
really. Yeah, your mindset's the most important thing, and I think you're gonna be able to look back for, this is what I think, is you'll be able to look back and see how much you've grown. And your 30s, you're able to do a lot more. It seems like you can do a lot more than you were able to do in your 20s. You probably will get smarter and almost kind of learn from that. And it gives you a launching point for your 40s. At least that's how I see it. A lot of people don't do anything differently, though, and a lot of people just kind of go down a downward spiral where all they think about is their youth and they don't think about the moment. So I think as long as you take advantage of it, it could be the greatest 10 years of your life, or just, another great decade, where every decade could be great. There's ups and downs for anything, but I don't think there's anything to be afraid of.
So am I getting more wrinkles in 2 years or not?
Probably not. I mean, it really depends on. I'd say don't get stressed. Get your sleep. Be smart about health and vitamins.
Yeah, it sounds like you might not get a lot of sun, so that probably helps with skin.
I'm literally not getting sun almost at all.
Yeah, the sun will age you for sure. Stress and sun and a drug habit will age you pretty bad. I think that's probably one of the number one making you look old. It would be drugs, is my guess.
My only drug are memes and cute puppy videos on Instagram. So
that's got to be good for you. That's gotta help with that.
That'll make you younger. Yeah, you talk about puppies a lot, but I know that there's a bunch of black and white cats that you're always petting. Are those like stray cats? Because they're really cute.
Yeah, those are stray cats that always just wander around my grandmother's house. And every time I go there to visit her, they just come from nowhere.
That's awesome.
And yeah, they're very friendly.
And this is the witch grandmother, right? This is the one that's a witch?
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So the cats have a good reason to stumble across the house. Yeah, people have a lot of cats in here. You'd be surprised. Like everybody has a cat in their house, or 2 or 10.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I have 4 cats and 2 of them are black.
Case in point. Everybody has cats. Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I love them.
Oh, that's nice.
Is your dog with you still? You still petting your dog?
Yeah, she's sleeping right now. She does that all the time.
Yeah, I guess too. Like, we're on the opposite sides of the world. Like, what time is it over there right now?
Oh, it's late.
Oh, well, tell me what's the time in there, just do the math.
It's 8:50 p.m. So is it 3:50 a.m. where you're at?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, so you must like the night then, right? Or is it just you stayed up really late for us?
I always, I know it sounds like not true, but I always only fall asleep in the morning, like about 5 or 6 o'clock. Lately, I don't know why. It just happens because I draw a lot at night. Yeah.
Yeah, I've lived that way a lot. It seems like you're more.
Yeah, because I draw a lot.
Yeah. Do you feel more creative? Like once it gets dark, you're. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to think that a lot, especially in my 20s. I think I lived that way, and I realized as I got older, it really doesn't matter, as you get older. I think you could do it whenever you really want, but I think it's just there's something more magical about the night where I think a lot of artists prefer it.
Plus when you're younger, you're still like having existential crisis, and you're still thinking about the fact that nothing matters and you're going to die. And once you get a little bit older, you don't really care about thinking this stuff. You just let it slide. So I'm still in that phase.
Yeah, more so, I think, for sure. Like when I was younger, I used to tell people I was going to be dead at 27 or 17. I used to, just tell everyone, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to be dead at 17." And I don't really say that anymore. Now I just tell people I'm going to live forever. So, yeah, it's a strange thing to think about, but yeah, it really
Well,
doesn't matter.
it's a nice goal to set. If you say you're gonna live to be 17, then you make it past 17, man. Wow, you've really done something with yourself. So
It's true. It's true.
I think you just discovered like a life hack. If you keep saying that you're dying at a certain age,
Yeah,
life just proves you wrong and you just keep living
right.
until forever.
yeah, you just hitting goal after goal. You just keep making your goal.
Milestones, yeah.
Yeah, I think that with my own experience, it seems like you can get what you want in life. It just won't be the way you wanted it. That seems to be the common thing. Um, you can accomplish anything, you can pretty much do anything. It just you might visualize it a certain way, and it's pretty hard for it to turn out exactly how you visualize. I don't know if you agree with that, Jeff, or not, but because I know you've accomplished a lot of things that you set your mind to as well.
Yeah, I think it's like what Gina said. I think a lot of it comes down to hard work. You know, picturing something coming true is half the battle. But then it's putting in that hard work. And I think, Gina, with like all of your work that I've seen, on Instagram and all your other places, it seems like you're constantly working, constantly putting in the hard work, and it definitely shows. And so, I'm sure with all the work you're putting in that, your art will make its way out to more and more people and be seen by more people because it definitely deserves to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've been growing a lot, it seems, Gina. Like your exposure has been growing, right?
Yeah, because it kind of happened because I started to work more. I had a period of time when I was like very depressed and demotivated, and I kind of found an excuse in this thing to not draw and not create.
Hmm.
So I kept doing this for a while, and then I was like, okay, I can stay depressed, but I still gotta do something because things are not gonna change.
Yeah.
So I just started actually working, not just saying tomorrow or the next week. I just started doing stuff, which is a tough process because sometimes you're doing bad stuff. Like I threw away a lot of drawings because they were stupid or bad or failed.
Hmm.
But I just kept doing that. So I kind of started seeing feedback from people and people telling me they loved my art. And you guys know how much this means for artists.
Yeah. It definitely it's like fuel. The more people care about it, it gives you fuel to keep doing it. For
Exactly.
sure. Yeah. If everyone ignores it and hates it, it gets really hard to go, for sure.
Yeah,
I,
exactly.
I do think we're at a golden age though for artists. I think there's probably more artists now than ever, and I think there's
Oh
more
my God, yeah.
ways. Yeah, it's a really great time. There's so many. I mean, you could do anything too, like absolutely anything at your fingertips. You could become famous overnight. I mean, it's just really an amazing world, um, for anybody creative at all. I think that's one of the reasons why we do the podcast is just to kind of showcase all these different creative people, and it definitely makes the world a more beautiful place, just to know that and connect with all these great people.
Yeah, that's true. I was just thinking these days that the classic artists had such tough times because
Yeah, yeah,
wow, they just like nowadays it's completely different and we can support each other, and we can do a lot of stuff with art.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing in our area.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing, and I mean, even not too long ago, it was just you had to have an agent and you had to have this gallery represent you, and it was kind of like a little elite club in a sense. And now you really could just, run with whatever you want to run with, and I think that's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
you hold all the power and control of your own destiny more so than you ever could.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I was going to ask you, do you have any big projects or any goals that you maybe haven't discussed anywhere else, but they're your personal things you're hoping to do or looking forward to doing?
I had this small little plan about doing a book with my drawings. I
Yeah.
really wanted it to be ready until my birthday, to launch it on my birthday, but then the virus came.
All right.
Bad luck, yeah. So for the moment, my only plan is just to keep drawing, because if you do a lot of artworks, you can use them in a lot of ways. You can do posters, books, a lot of stuff with them. So I'm just gonna keep drawing, and I'll think about other ways to use my artworks in the long run.
Yeah.
I don't really make huge plans, because I never stick to them and I always fail. So it almost never happens as I plan in my head.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I've always just kind of been I always try to set goals for myself and tasks and challenges that seem really far out of reach. And but I started off really small with those, and it's like a stepping stone. It feels like. So I'm always curious on what other artists kind of have their mindset at, or what kind of things they're looking forward to doing. It's just it's interesting.
Yeah, well, every other person seems more organized than me, so everybody seems to have a plan. I think no one
I don't think.
really has their life together as it seems like. I don't think we all have such great plans. We just stick to whatever life gives us.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, I think.
And stuff just happens on the process.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know too many people that have their life really really together. Maybe it's an act. Maybe it's a it's a just a persona they put on to make themselves feel better. But yeah, I think we're always trying to figure out things, and every day is a new challenge, a new day. You don't know what's going to come, and you kind of have to approach it the best way you can.
Yeah. Plus, I think everybody's plan right now is not to die from a virus. I think we
Yeah, it's a
all
good
want
goal.
that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's not going to affect too many younger people. I don't think it's going to have that big of an impact, but I'm hoping, I'm really positive that it's going to all be kind of vanish soon. That's my hope.
And after it vanishes, an asteroid hits us, and that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we wouldn't know. I
An
think that'd
asteroid. I
be.
guess it depends how fast it's going, because I've seen plenty of movies where an asteroid's coming and they either shoot it out of the sky or they send who was it, Billy Bob Thornton or something, over to put a piece of dynamite in it or something. So I feel like we got space
Oh
lasers
yeah,
or
I
something.
think I saw that one as well.
I
Yeah.
mean, personally, I think we're protected in a sense. I think that's why that kind of thing has never happened yet. I think I think we are. I think humans are kind of protected, whether it's aliens or something bigger or it's energy, um, uh, other dimensions. I think we sort of have a protection in a sense against us. I could be wrong on that, but I've always felt that.
Yeah, I think we're being kept as pets
That could be it
by
as well. Yeah.
someone.
Yeah, or it's all just a simulation. That's the other thing, right? Or
Oh,
That's
Black Mirror hit very hard right now.
yeah.
yeah, I like to think we're just a bunch of mammals on a big giant rock flying through, infinite space, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's kind of absurd.
Um, and so we're coming up to about an hour here. And I wanted to say, we asked you a little bit about kind of what your plans were in the future. I know you have an Instagram and some other things. Is there what's the best way for people to see the art that you're making right now?
Right now I think that Instagram is the best way and it's the best platform where people can see my work because I'm not lazy, but my website is under construction and I've decided to do it by myself because I want to do a lot of stuff in there. And it's gonna last a lot until I get it done.
Hmm.
So yeah, Instagram is the best place
Yeah,
for now.
Instagram's almost better than a website in a sense too. I think it's a great platform. So yeah, I mean that's how I connected with you, and I think you have a great page, and I think it's going to grow a lot. That keep doing what you're doing. I think it's going to really pay off for you.
Yeah, I kind of think that Instagram really is the best place where all the artists can grow.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in there. If I want to search for an artist, I go straight to Instagram. So yeah.
Well, yeah, we really appreciate having you on. I think it was a fun conversation from witches and learning about the culture and about you and you know really amazing, and I'm really grateful to have you on.
Thanks a lot because you guys wrote me and because you called me and because we had this podcast. It was my first. I had no idea what I was doing. Neither neither do I have an idea now.
Well, we just like to keep it chill. Just like having a conversation, just talking. Just that's it's fun to just get creative minds together and talk about creative projects.
And congratulations for letting people know about artists. You guys
Thank
are
you.
great.
Thank you. Yeah, I often forget why we do it, and then I'm reminded every time we talk to another artist. I'm like, this is what it's all about, and it's I really love it, and hope we can continue to do it for a long time, even after the meteor.
Awesome. Well, Gina
Okay,
Iacob
awkward
is
silence.
great.
Okay, we need to avoid the awkward silences. So everybody thanked everybody, right?
We did. We thanked, and I want you to help me figure out how to be a vampire soon. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, we
Were you
got to
gonna
talk
suggest?
about this
Yeah,
off
I'm
Skype,
looking forward.
of course.
Definitely the
Yeah, you
secrets.
can't just be giving out secrets like that. I'm more interested in witchcraft, but that's just me.
Yeah, of course.
All right, great. Thanks, Gina.
Yep.
Well,
Have a
thank
great
you.
night.
You
Have a great
too,
night.
and good luck, guys.